Yay, I think we're live. Hey bookworms, it's Jade from Bedtime Bookworm and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing my second Goodreads organization live stream. Basically what I'm going to be doing is sort of cleaning up some of my Goodreads shelves. I have a really intense Goodreads shelving system, and I have a video about it, which is linked down in the description box if you're interested. The only problem with having such a complex system is that I don't always keep up with it, so my shelves are, well, excuse me, my shelves are often out of date. I don't want to say they're always out of date. Well, some of the shelves are always out of date, but basically I have a tiered TBR system, and the higher tiers I try to keep a little bit cleaner. But lately, my want to read shelf has definitely gotten out of hand, and I need to organize it, declutter it a little bit. And so I thought it would be fun to do this on a live stream, and that way if anybody who is here in the chat or if you're watching this on replay, you can always leave comments in the comment section letting me know your opinions on these books that I'm trying to decide where to put on my different shelves, which that'll make more sense when you see my system, I hope. Anyways, let's see if anybody's here. Yes, we've got some people, and hopefully I've got everything set up. So I've done this once before, and I wasn't able to share my face and my screen at the same time, but I figured out a different way to do the live stream, so that should work this time, and hopefully everybody can see things well. Hi. Okay, so I've got the chat pulled up, so feel free to let me know in the chat if I am going over books that you've read and you have an opinion on. Let me know. So let's see. Let me share my Goodreads. Okay. So just real quick, I want to show you guys, I am 4 books ahead of schedule on my reading challenge. That pretty much hasn't happened in previous years. I'm always just like right around my my goal, if not a little bit behind. But this year I think it was probably April or May where I read, I don't remember which one, I think it was April. I read a bunch of books. I think it was May. I read a bunch of books, and it got me, I think at some points I was like 5 books ahead. And then this month I started reading like 4 books at once, and I haven't hardly finished anything. I've only finished 2 books, but I think I'll be able to finish some of these before the end of the month. Excuse me, I need to drink some water. Okay, let's go to my books. So, yesterday I spent just a little bit of time cleaning up my red shelf because I figured this would be boring to do here, but what I did was I went through and added all the books that I'd read to, sorry, I'm just showing my oldest books. Let's go to the newest books. Okay. So what I did was I added every book that I've read this year to a read in 2019 shelf. I just like to have a yearly shelf so that I can see at a glance like how many books I've read. And also I'll put like DNFs on my yearly shelf so that it includes that in the total that I see here. So I did that, and I also like tagged them as audiobook if I listen to them or the genre that they're in. Although yesterday I was kind of going back and forth on if I really wanted to do genre shelves or even audiobook shelves for books that I've already read. I was trying to decide if that's really necessary, like how I would use it. But for now, I'm going to keep doing it because I think that like if I ever want to do recommendations, it would be nice to go to like a genre shelf or an audiobook or the audiobook shelf and then sort by like if it has a read date to easily like remind myself books. I don't know if I really need that because if I'm going to recommend something, you would think I would already think of it, but anyways. So I did that yesterday, so we don't have to do that today. But the first thing that we're going to do is update basically books from my TBR video that is posted earlier this week. Yes, I know. There's so Deanie said those are intimidating numbers for every category, and it's true. Especially, so basically, what I do is I like to add any book that I hear about onto my Goodreads, and that's why I have a tiered shelving system. So most of them should go to my TBR maybe shelf, and that's why it's so big. But I like to keep my want to read shelf closer to 100 books, and as you can see, it's much higher than that. And that's because this is the default shelf that a lot of books get added to. Hey Shannon, thanks for joining. This is the default shelf that a lot of books get added to, and so sometimes I will be lazy and just add books to the want to read shelf when they really should be going on a lower tier shelf. So that's going to be our goal today, is to kind of clean up that shelf a little bit. But first, I want to start with my up next shelf with just the books that are on my like summer TBR that I talked about. So this book is actually no longer on my summer TBR. It was on my spring TBR. So I'm going to put this back on just my want to read shelf instead of my up next shelf. But on my up next shelf, I want to add The Cabin, The End of the World. I have this one out from the library already on ebook and hardcover, and so I definitely want to get to that one soon. The Midnight Star I have out from the library already. It's actually due back really soon, so I need to start reading it. So this needs to go to my up next shelf. And then, oh yeah, Before We Were Yours. This is my workbook club book, and workbook club meets second Wednesday of the month, so I have until like a little over a week into July to read this. I actually was having a hard time getting a hold of it, but luckily the audiobook is on Scribd, so I'll be able to listen to that, but I'm not going to be able to get my hands on like an ebook or a physical copy because the wait is way too long. The Gone World. This one is going on my up next shelf. I'm going to be doing a buddy read for this with Rachel from Shades of Orange. Oh, and then I have Kill River. I want that one next. I'm going to be doing the Bloody Beach readathon, which is in July and August, and Kill River is one of the July books. So this like up next shelf should get me through like mid-July, so I want to go ahead and put this on there. Then after that, I just want to make sure the other books on my summer TBR are just on my must-read soon shelf. So I kind of like to have my up next shelf have about 5 books on it, and then my must-read soon shelf should have like 20-ish books on it, and that's about my TBR, although I've read some of them already, so there'll be less than 20 on my must-read soon. And then everything else that I definitely want to read goes on my want to read shelf. Oh, hey, Sean. Oh, you think Kill River is good? Awesome. I'm excited to read it. I have only read one slasher before, and it was a YA slasher, and it was just okay. So I'm interested to see what I think of that one. Okay. Royal Assassin. Oh, I think this is on my paused shelf, which is fine. Yeah, because I did already technically start that, and then I stopped. Okay, Recursion. And I think this is on my not yet released shelf still, although it's technically out. That's another thing we could do. We could clean up. I am really bad about moving things off of my not yet released shelf. A lot of times I wait until the season is over, and then I go back and move them at that point when I'm getting ready to make my anticipated reads for the next season. Recursion. Let's see. Let me go to my must read soon, just because some of these might already be on there from previous TBRs. Yeah. Piper's Son. I'll Give You the Sun. Okay, so this book, the Quintana of Charin, is actually not on my TBR, so it needs to go back to my to-read shelf. Vengeful is also not on my TBR for the summer. I think I'll probably read that in the fall, though. I read the first one, Vicious, in the fall, so it'd be nice to read it like about a year later, I think. This book is also no longer on my TBR. These are all books that I had on my previous TBR, but now they didn't make it into my summer TBR, and that's not because like I don't want to read them anymore. I just, things move around a lot. So Deanie, you just ask if stuff changes a lot, and yeah, these TBR shelves are in constant flux. They move around a lot, just depending on what I'm in the mood for and what my plans are. This also is no longer on my TBR. That is still on my TBR. This is no longer on my like immediate TBR. And Bright We Burn. Did I take that off? I did take that off. Oh, not paused. That was a misclick. To read. All right, let me refresh this so I have a better view of what is on here. Okay, I've just got 4. Okay, Royal Assassin is on the other TBR on my paused shelf. Recursion is on here. Piper's Son, okay, Big Magic. The Enchanted. This needs to go up to my must read soon. And The Walled City. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Where? Oh, I think my husband just got home. My dog jumped off my lap. This needs to go on to my must read soon. Let's see. Kill River 2 needs to go on to my must read soon. Oh, Sean, you've read The Enchanted? I feel like a lot of people had talked about that book a couple years ago, like I guess closer to when it came out, but I haven't heard people talking about it recently. And I don't remember that much about it, about like why I wanted to read it. I just remember that people really liked it. Okay, I Call Upon Thee. But I'm glad to hear that you liked it. Hey, Shoshana. Yeah, the Kill River books do look creepy. Hopefully they are creepy. Must read soon. So the Kill River books, I Call Upon Thee, and then Something Borrowed, Something Blood Soaked. Hopefully, yeah, I wasn't sure if the search would pull it up without that last word, but it did. These are all books for the Bloody Beach readathon. That is all of July and all of August. Then I also have Sorcery of Thorns. I really want to read Sorcery of Thorns in July, but I'm not sure if it's going to make it in. We'll see. Depends on how much I get read. There's always more books that I want to read than I have time for, of course. Let's see. Oh. The dogs have left the room. What else do I have on my TBR? Wilder Girls. This is on my not yet released shelf, and it's actually still not released, but I'm going to go ahead and put it on my must read soon because I own a copy of it. House of Salt and Sorrows. Must read soon. Yes, I'm excited to read Wilder Girls 2. Again, that's another one I really hope to read. I wanted to read it in June. It's not going to happen. But I really hope to read it in July because it's coming out in July. So I want to talk about it in my wrap-up if I can fit it in. But I'm not sure. I don't know. I feel like my July TBR is already kind of full. So we'll see. Part of the problem is I just have a lot of physical books that I want to read right now and not as many like ebooks and audiobooks, and I always want to have like one of each going, sometimes the same book in multiple formats. So just because I have a lot of physical books that I want to read, I get through them slower because I don't have other formats that I can read them in at the same time. I think that's all of them. Let's see. Must read soon. I think this should be like 20 books. 13. Oh, okay. That one's not on there because it's on a different shelf. Let's see. I'll Give You the Sun. Walled City. The Enchanted. I think it's because I've read some. That's what it is. Yeah, this looks pretty thorough. Okay, all right. So my must read soon shelf is done. Now, the big whopper, the reason why we're all here, to clean up my want to read shelf. And I was trying to figure out what's the best way to tackle this shelf because I want to try and shrink it. And when I say I'm going to shrink it, I don't mean that I'm going to be getting rid of these books. Like, I hesitate to use the word declutter. I know a lot of people say that they declutter their Goodreads, but I don't like to remove, like, I pretty much will never delete books off of my Goodreads. I do actually have a shelf called No Longer Interested. Where is it? Lost interest. That's what it's called. So if I like hear a bunch of bad things about a book and I decide I definitely don't want to read that, then I'll move it to the lost interest. Or if it's like a sequel in a series that I don't want to read anymore, like I don't want to continue in, I'll move it to lost interest. But other than that, things just get moved down to the TBR maybe shelf because I don't want to rule out that I might not read it someday, if that makes sense. Excuse me. And the more I hear good things about a book, it starts to move up. So my 3 tiers are the TBR maybe, and then if I'm pretty sure, like I've heard enough about a book that I'm pretty sure I'm going to read it, but I'm not like 100% sure that, like, I'm not definitely going to read it, then it goes to my TBR probably shelf. And then if I like am really sure that I want to read it, it goes onto my want to read shelf. Yeah, Deanie, I'm the same way. He said, or they said, one physical book and one audiobook so they can read while at work or driving. So I also like to have an ebook because I have a Kindle, like a Paperwhite, and that's what I read right before. Like, usually I'll get into bed and I'll read out of a physical book, and then I'll turn off the lights and I'll read from my Kindle Paperwhite because it's like backlit and it helps me to fall asleep at night. So I like to have one in all 3. But if I have just a physical book, like, that's okay. I have a book light. I just prefer reading out of my Kindle right before I go to sleep. And if I'm not reading a physical book, just having like an ebook on my Kindle and my audiobook is totally fine. But usually I have something going in all 3 because there's always some book that I want to read that I can't get in ebook or audiobook form. I just have it in physical. So sometimes that happens. Oh, Shoshana asks which ones from my must-read soon shelf am I going to be buddy reading? I think it's just The Gone World. I don't want to pull it up again because it's going to like take time to load. But off the top of my head, The Gone World, I am buddy reading with Rachel from Shades of Orange, and then Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. I plan to buddy read with Leanna from Leanna's Library. But other than that, I'm not really buddy reading any. Well, then there's the Bloody Beach readathon. So that's like a read. It's not really a readathon. It's more of a read along where everyone reads together. So if you count those. Oh, Deanie, thank you. Thank you for that. Actually, the Lost Interest Shelf isn't a I won't throw this away in case it's a useful one. It's a Jade, just so you know, you don't want to read this. It's because there's so many books that I haven't heard of before or haven't heard a lot about, or I've just like heard once or twice that I'm like, oh, that sounds interesting. So I'll add it to my maybe shelf. But if I've heard consistently bad reviews or bad reviews from people that I trust or have similar tastes from, I don't want to forget that I heard bad reviews about it and decided not to, just because I'm on BookTube, I just am exposed to so many books that I can forget that I've heard of a book before. And if I have gotten to the point where I've decided I definitely don't want to read this, like I don't want to forget that I decided that, if that makes any sense. So that's why I add it to the Lost Interest shelf. I don't like deleting books because then if I come up against it again, like I might not remember that I've already heard of it before, if that makes sense. Okay, so I think I'm going to start with the oldest books added and move down. And what I'm going to do is open them in different tabs because I want to add some of them to some shelves, like genre shelves and stuff. But I can already tell you that these first two are staying on my want to read shelf. This is the second book in the Infernal Devices series, and I have only, well, obviously I've only read the first one, and I've read the first 3 of her first trilogy. And I'm honestly not a huge fan, but I like the first one. Like I like the setting of this trilogy a lot, and I'm kind of wavering on if I want to DNF the series or not, but I haven't made that decision yet. So at this point, I still want to read this, but let me see. Let me tag it. Fantasy. And mostly 5 stars. Okay, so that one's staying on my want to read shelf, definitely. And this is also staying on my want to read shelf. Definitely want to read A Monster Calls by Patrick Ness. I've heard such good things about it. It's just, I know it's going to make me cry. And I have a really hard time making myself pick up books that I know are going to make me cry. Excuse me, I just had dinner, so I'm a little burpy. I had Coke with my dinner. But yeah, Patrick Ness is one of my favorite authors, and I've just heard such good things about this that I want to read it. I'm never in the mood to read it because it's going to be sad. And this one I feel like is a book I've wavered on many a time. It has mostly 5 stars. I don't think I realized that. And one of the reasons why I'm leaning towards keeping this is because it's a like time travel, alternate reality sort of book, and that's like one of my favorite things. Let me see. Oh yeah, my friend Jean gave this 5 stars. That's pretty encouraging, although that was back in 2013. And my friend Brittany gave this 5 stars. Yeah, I feel like I gotta give this a chance. What are the time travel and dystopian? Yeah, I think I'll keep this, but should it be on my probably shelf? I think this is going to my probably shelf because I'm going to try and be really cutthroat about what is on my want to read shelf because I want to get it down to closer to 100. I figure 100 is kind of a good number because that's about what I can read in 2 years. And I feel like that's, you know, plenty to keep me occupied. So I'm going to try and get it down. Look at this average rating though, guys. Like, that's really high. I'm going to put it on probably for now, just because I've never hear people talking about this. It's an old book. That's why people were talking about it when I very first got onto the book internet. What was I going to do? Oh yeah, probably. Okay. Body Electric. This is another one I heard a lot about back in like 2014, 2015. And I haven't read any Beth Revis before. Has anybody else read Beth Revis before? This is definitely not staying on my want to read shelf. Dystopian. I love dystopian. Hi, Seth. Oh, I'm glad you've added some things to your TBR. So I have been reading a little bit of horror lately, but I definitely don't read, like, I'm not a horror booktuber, but I do dabble in it. I like reading horror, so I'm glad that you're excited about that. I like to read a lot of different things. I like to read both adult and YA. I even like middle grade. My main thing is fantasy, of course. Sean, yet. I'm not a horror booktuber yet. I mean, I'm never going to give up fantasy, you know, like that is my bread and butter. This has such good ratings. But because I'm unsure about it and I'm trying to be cutthroat, this has got to go to my probably. All right, let's see. Some of these are like NetGalley books that I got years ago and I never read. When? Hey, this says mostly 5 stars. I think I already have it shelved that way though. Mostly 5 stars. YA, mystery, paranormal. Has high ratings. This is going to my maybe shelf. Even though it has high ratings, I barely remember this book, like hearing about it. All right. Shannon, you said get rid of the NetGalley stuff. I'm torn about that. I feel like because I own it, because I got it from NetGalley, that like I should keep it on my TBR. Because I think it'll eventually, I mean, they all went into my TBR jar because I tried to put every book that I own into my TBR jar. So it'll stay on my want to read shelf, even though I don't really want to. I think I will read it at some point. So that's what this is. Oh, it's really close. It doesn't have a lot of ratings though. I'm not going to put it on my mostly 5 star. Richard, do you agree with getting rid of NetGalley? I'm going to keep it for now just because I feel obligated to. I don't know when I'll read it. Honestly, when I read it, I anticipate them being DNFs, so there's that. I don't know. Maybe I should just get rid of them. Okay. Let's just do this for now. This cover is terrible. I feel like I'm gonna hate this book. Yeah, Shannon, I have been avoiding NetGalley. I pretty much log onto it like once every 6 months, and I haven't in over 6 months at this point. But when I do, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna get like one book, and I end up with like 5. But I haven't done that in a while. I did that. I think the last time I did it was last summer, so it's been almost a year. Let's just put this on a genre shelf for now. Oh, are they on my TBR, my owned TBR? I feel like it should be on my owned TBR because I own it. Let me go back. This one too. I know, the cover of Gin and Juice is terrible. I'm pretty sure I'm going to hate it. Okay, this book looks really creepy. Has anybody read this book? The Creeping by, I feel like I've heard of this author, but I don't know what else she's written. It's a YA horror book. Ooh, Lala gave it 4 stars. Not that many people have read it. Has the author written anything else? I feel like on my phone it shows me the other books the author has written. I feel like I've heard of this author. Oh, it's over here. I've heard of this book. It's on my TBR probably shelf. I have not heard of that book. 16, 17, when did this come out? 15, so this was her first book. Okay, this is going onto my maybe shelf because I don't know enough about it, but I will tag it as scary. It's already tagged as scary. Perfect. And is it contemporary? Okay, so it's not like a fantasy. Interesting. This one is another NetGalley book, I'm pretty sure. Yep. Oh, look at those ratings. It does not look good. Okay. Owned TBR and what? This is fantasy. Oh, science fiction or fantasy. If anybody has read any of these, let me know. This looks like fantasy. Okay. Oops. Yep. Okay. Some of these I'm surprised are on my want to read shelf. Sure, Shannon. Shannon asked if I can read the titles and authors out as I go. Funny you say that, Sean. Or actually, that was Shoshana. About the Bronze Horseman. I'm pretty sure that's coming off my TBR right now. Okay, Sean's heard great things about this next book. This is Unbroken, a World War II story of survival, resilience, and redemption by Laura Hillenbrand. Oh, it has really good ratings. So mostly 5 stars. Oops, I already did that. And I'm guessing this is, oh, it's nonfiction. Interesting. Do I even have a nonfiction shelf? I do. Oh, this is the author of Seabiscuit. I've seen the movie. All right. This is gonna go. Who else read this? April's read it. Oh, Rachel gave it 4 stars. Oh, lots of people have loved this book. All right, this has got to go on my probably shelf because I will probably read it. I don't pick up nonfiction all that often. I'm trying to think, have I even picked up any? I don't think I've picked up any since I started BookTube. If I have, it's been like 1 or 2. Excuse me. Oh, Unbroken's a movie. Have you seen the movie, Shoshana? Sean said 4 stars from Rachel on nonfiction is high praise. Yeah, that girl is a hard reader. She doesn't give out high ratings very often, so. Yeah. Still, I'm going to keep it on my probably shelf for now because I'm trying to be cutthroat. I feel like I'm still going to have a lot of books on my want to read shelf. So, okay, so that one's good. The Bronze Horseman by Paulina Simons. Who has read this? I've read one Paulina Simons. Actually, I DNF'd one Paulina Simons, so I'm pretty sure I don't want to read this. I know that it gets a lot of high praise from people who read romance, and it's got a lot of 5 stars. Oh, Witty Novels gave it 1 star. Okay, Sarah Without an H has some strong feelings about it. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to read this. Like, I know that there are, Kitty G gave it 2 stars. I know that there are people who really liked it, but I really did not like the other book by her that I attempted to read, and I'm not a big romance reader. Oh, Shannon. Shannon's reminded me of a couple books that I have read that were nonfiction. I don't think I read the one about the blood testing company. That's one I want to read, but I did read that unicorn business book that you're talking about. All right, Shoshana says this book is toxic. I've heard that from a lot of people. I'm going to put this on my lost interest shelf. I know this has a lot of fans out there, but I really don't think I'm going to like it. So I'm going to say bye-bye to that book. And I'm going to remove it from my mostly 5 stars because the reason why I have my mostly 5 stars shelf is I have a dog trying to get in. Just a second. Come on. Okay. Okay. Hey, Rachel. Glad you could make it. Don't worry about being late. I know Friday nights aren't necessarily like the best time to do live streams and stuff, but I'm going out of town tomorrow, and I couldn't do it yesterday, and I wanted to do it before my next video. So that's how it worked out for me. I was saying the reason why I have a mostly 5-star shelf is for me to like be able to look at books that people have rated highly to like add things to my immediate TBR easily. And because I don't want to read this, I don't want it on that shelf. Okay, this book I definitely want to read. I watched the show and I really liked the show. And I love time travel books and things like that. So, and I want to read more Stephen King. So for many reasons, okay, mostly 5 stars. This is time travel. Historical fiction. Should I put it as historical fiction? Kind of is. I'll go for it. But yeah, I definitely want to read 11/22/63. Who has read this? Chelsea Dolly Reeves. My friend Mariah. Oh, Daniel Green, Samantha Leanne. Cool. Yeah, definitely want to read this. That is staying on my shelf. Jellicoe Road, also staying on my shelf. Okay. Melina Marchetta, I've read a few of her books. one that I really, really loved, which was, I'm totally blanking on the name of the book, but it'll show me. Oh yeah, Saving Francesca. I read that, absolutely loved it. Another one of her books is on my must read soon. It's on my TBR, The Piper's Son. But Jellicoe Road is another contemporary of hers that I definitely want to read. I've heard such good things about it. Must read soon. And contemporary, right? Yep. Oh, some people shelved it as mystery. Interesting. Look at all these awards it won. She's an Australian author that people don't really talk about all that often. Yeah, definitely want to keep that on my want to read shelf. Sorry, I'm just reading the chat. Oh, I bet 11/22/63 would be good on audiobook, even if it's 30 hours long. Long audiobooks don't scare me. I've listened to enough of them that I like long audiobooks. And yes, I do think I would like Bad Blood. I just haven't had a chance to read it. I keep wanting, actually, I'm kind of waiting because I'm trying to get my work book club to read it because I work for, in case you don't know, a genetics company. And so, like, people I work with would be fascinated by this book. But I haven't had a chance to nominate it yet. So I definitely want to read it. I just don't know how soon. I think once I get it on our, like, options for book club, that it will probably win the polls. I'm very democratic with my workbook club, and we vote on what we want to, like, we do nominations and vote on what we want to read. So I definitely want to read that book. Okay, so this is a sequel to a YA fantasy book that I read, the first book, years ago. But I still am interested in continuing the story because I thought it was really creative and different. Have other people read this? Not a lot. And it's not a super popular book. But because it's a sequel of a series that I haven't decided not to read, it's staying on my want to read shelf. I'll just stick it on a genre shelf and call it a day for now. All right, let's see. Oh, okay, this will be an interesting one. Who has read Before I Fall? Please let me know what you thought of it. It's an old one. Oh, Allison said that she's read The Shadow Hour and the book after it, and she really liked them. Good. I'm so happy to hear that. I remember really enjoying the first book in the series, but I just took too long to read the next one, and I haven't read them. So, okay. So the next book is Before I Fall by Lauren Oliver. Shoshana said that she's read it and thinks I can skip it. Oh, look at those ratings, though. Holy cannoli. Out of 272,000, it has 94,000 5-star ratings. That's a lot. I know this is like a Groundhog Day sort of book, right? I do think there's going to be a show. It won a bunch of awards, or at least was nominated. It's a really old book. Shoshana thinks I can read better books with the groundhog theme. I don't know that many books with a groundhog theme. I think it's going down my no, I'll put it on my maybe shelf because it's going to get a mostly 5 stars tag. Like, that increases the chance that I will read it one day, even though it's on my maybe shelf, if that makes any sense. But it's contemporary. I'm gonna go with time travel. Okay. All right. And I've heard so much about Lauren Oliver, but I haven't read any of her books. I kind of think that I wouldn't like her books. Okay, Moody Bookworm said that she liked it. I think I'm going to stick with my maybe shelf because it has all 5 stars for now. But it's definitely leaning probably. You know what? I'm going to put it on my probably shelf. It might move down eventually, but I think for now, Just because it's a book and an author that I recognize, I think I'm going to put it on probably. Okay, Stolen, A Letter to My Captor by Lucy Christopher. I had heard a lot about this a couple years ago. It's definitely not a genre that I read, but I think it's like from oh look, see, it's mostly 5 stars. Do I have it tagged? Is that already? No, I don't. And this is contemporary. So 16-year-old is kidnapped. Story takes the form of a letter written by Gemma. I think she like falls in love with her captor or something. Or maybe her captor's in love with her. Ooh, it won some awards. Oh, Inge gave it 1 star, okay. 5 stars, 5 stars. Ooh, 2 stars. 2 stars. Ooh, this looks like it's I think somebody's cutting their grass right now. Hopefully you can't hear that. Looks like it's controversial. Ooh, Katie gave it 5 stars. Okay. This one's tough. Okay, Rachel said that she's a sucker for kidnapping stories, but it reads like younger YA, and she thought it was just okay. I think I'm okay with younger YA. I think, okay, it's going to go on my probably shelf. I'm not 100% sure I'm going to read it. I don't think it'll make it into my top 100, but it has enough good reviews, and I've heard enough about it, and I think I don't think I've read a lot of kidnapping stories, but I feel like I'm probably a sucker for them too. So, probably. Okay, Ocean at the End of the Lane. This is staying on my want to read shelf. Oh, surprisingly, it's not mostly 5 stars, although it's really close. I don't even know what the genre for this really is. Fantasy, okay. Oh, Inge gave it 1 star. Yeah, I mean, Murphy gave it 5 stars. She doesn't give out 5s very often. Sean says it's not his best work. I actually haven't read any Gaiman or Gaiman before. I hear people say that both ways. So, what do I need to do? I see it kind of listed as horror down here. You guys who read horror, would you really think that it's horror? Fantasy. Okay, Shannon has read a lot of Gaiman, or Game. Is it Gaiman or Gaiman? Not that you guys can tell me because you're just typing. Oh, thank you, Shannon. It's Gaiman. Awesome. She said that it is not one of her favorites of his. No, it is her favorite, but she disliked Neverwhere, which is a lot of other people's favorites. Ooh, dark fairy tale feeling. I like that. All right, I'm going to go ahead and add. Someone said that it does have a horror feel to it, so I'm going to put it in there. But yeah, I definitely want to read this. Oh yeah, I have heard that the audiobook is really good. I should shelve it as audio. Thank you, Rachel, for saying that. She doesn't think it's horror. That's why I have a shelf that's theme scary, because it's a lot of books that aren't horror have I just like to shelve thrillers and horrors together, but there's a lot of things that are horror leaning, or they're not exactly horror, but they're kind of scary, so I just put it all on one shelf. Okay, cool. So that one's good. Okay, this one I had heard a lot about a long time ago. Boy Snow Bird by Helen Oyeyemi. And I think I've come to realize that this is more of like a literary fiction Yeah, it's literary fiction. So I don't know if I'm really going to like this. It fails my rating test. Is it? Yep, it still fails my rating test. So I don't know if I want to read this. Oh, Sean says this is one he really wants to read. What is it even about? I don't know what it's about. I remember hearing about this from Books and Lala years ago, and I don't even remember if she liked it or didn't. I'm guessing she liked it if I added it to my TBR. But she does have a sort of like strange taste in books. Yeah, this sounds like a really weird one. Lala gave it 3 stars, so she didn't like it or not like it. 3 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars. This is going down to my maybe shelf. I don't feel strongly about this one. It's a fairy tale retelling. I do like fairy tale retellings. What is it a retelling of, Sean? Yeah, I think it's still going to be on my maybe shelf. I'm going to need a little more. Oh, it's a Snow White retelling. That sounds cool. Oh, that's why there's a snow in here. Oh, I do like retellings. Okay, this is going on my probably shelf. Now that I know it's a Snow White retelling. Ugh, so many books to read, guys. I don't know if I'll ever get to it, even if it's on my probably shelf. Speaking of retellings, we have this one and this one. Okay, so Sleeper in the Spindle, I definitely want to read. I think it'll be really good. So let's see, this is going to be fantasy. I think it's so short. Yeah, no question. I definitely want to read it. Done. This one, so this is a collection of like short stories set in the Lunar Chronicles world, and I love Lunar Chronicles, so I'll probably read this. Not in a huge rush to read it. No, I was gonna leave it on my want to read shelf, but the words that I literally just said was I will probably read this. So I guess I should put it on my probably shelf. It is all 5 stars, and it's fantasy. Oh, who didn't like Stars Above? Deanie. Interesting. Any particular reason? Did you not like some of the stories? I know that there's a story in here about, it's like post the series, about the like main couple, and I want to read that. I want to know what happens to them. So I think I have read some of these stories before. I don't remember. The stories weren't as good as the book. Yeah, I could see that. That's why it's going on my probably shelf. Okay, Song of Achilles. This is staying on my want to read shelf. I've heard so many people say that this book is so good. It is mostly 5 stars. I'm pretty sure I've heard that the audiobook is really good. Has anybody listened to this on audio? It's mostly 5 stars. Fantasy. Deanie loved it. I can't remember if I heard this was a good audiobook or not, but either way, it's staying on my TBR. I definitely want to read some Madeline Miller. Yeah, lots of people. Ooh, Chelsea gave it 2 stars. Caitlin gave it 2 stars. It's so interesting to see people's different ratings. Teresa gave it 5 stars. Yeah, Cersei's on my list too. Okay. Audiobook is amazing, Deanie said, so I will add it to my audiobook shelf. I thought I had heard that, but I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure if I was getting that confused with what I heard about Cersei, because I'm pretty sure that one is also good on audio. I used to be really into like Greek and Roman mythology when I was in middle school, but now like I don't remember much about it. So I don't know if I will remember enough mythology to like understand everything that's going on, but we'll see. Okay, the rest of us just live here. I definitely want to read this. Patrick Ness is one of my favorite authors, and I think this is like not one of his best books, but I think that has a lot to do with like your expectations going in too. So I definitely want to read this. I don't even want to put this on. This is like an urban fantasy or a low fantasy. Yeah, I'm not going to put it on a, well, if I don't put it on a genre shelf, I won't know that I've already looked at it. So, whatever, just put it on fantasy. It's not really fantasy though. That's going to bug me. Okay, I'll put it on both. That's my compromise. It's both. See? It's fantasy and contemporary. Oh, Robbie, you just read Circe yesterday. What did you think of it? Did you like it? Do audiobooks work on Kindle Paperwhites? Like when I get an audiobook, I usually get it from the library, or if I get it from Amazon, I use the Audible app. I do think Kindle Paperwhites can read to you, but it's not the same thing as the audiobook where like a narrator has like done it. I think like I know somebody who has used that function before, but I've never used it. So I think that if you're going to get like the actual audiobook, that you can't listen to it from the Kindle. I think you have to listen to it from like your phone. Okay, Forbidden. This is mostly 5 stars. I don't even remember what this is about. What genre? Young adult romance. Not usually what I like. Oh, Sean, that's really interesting. The latest generation works through Bluetooth, but only if you have the audiobook and the Kindle version. Oh, so Shauna says that Forbidden is maybe an incest story. It was nominated for some awards, interestingly. Woody Noble said she has no idea how this got published as YA. Oh, Lala gave it 5 stars. Chelsea gave it 1. Did anybody used to watch Shannon from Leaning Lights? I miss her videos. All right. This is going to go on my probably shelf. It's not really the genre that I like, but it sounds interesting. And it's got a lot of good ratings. Is it tagged as mostly 5 stars? Yes, it is. And it's contemporary. Okay, making progress. At least I think I'm making progress. Okay, The Crane Wife. This is Patrick Ness. I want to say this is going to stay on my want to read shelf. It's definitely not like high on my list from him, but he's one of my favorite authors, so I kind of want to read everything he's written. It's like a magical realism book that he wrote. Has anybody read it? Oh, Mari gave it 4 stars. Crane gave it 5 stars. Not that many people have read it, at least out of my like Goodreads friends. This is a tough one. I think it's gonna stay. Yeah, it's gonna stay for now. Dark Places. This is gonna stay. I want to read this. I've only read Gone Girl, and it was pretty good, but I'd already seen the movie when I read Gone Girl, so like I didn't love it. I think like it didn't blow my mind, but I think that it could have if I hadn't seen the movie already. Yeah, I definitely want to read this. I'm surprised it's not mostly 5 stars though. So let's see, this is going to be contemporary and scary. Cool. Oops, no, I didn't mean to click that. Oh, Rachel says that she loves shades. I was gonna say she loves Shades of Orange. That's the name of her channel. She loves Dark Places. So that's awesome to hear. Okay, who has read Dangerous Girls by Abigail Haas or Abby McDonald? I feel like I've heard this was a really good YA thriller. Oh, C.G. Drews gave it 5 stars. Jean gave it 5 stars. Yeah, this has got pretty good reviews. It's mostly 5 stars. Oh man. Probably shelf or want to read shelf. I think probably. If I'm being realistic, it's probably. It's so hard. I want to read all the books, guys. All the books. Contemporary. Okay. I used to be really interested in this, and now not so much. It's a YA romance. Oh, sorry. The name of the book is Roseblood by A.G. Howard. Ratings are kind of all over the place. I think this is going in my maybe. Just not all that interested in it anymore. I've read a couple of A.G. Howard's books, and I liked them, but that was a long time ago. Yeah, I believe it is a Phantom of the Opera retelling. Excuse me. And I'm honestly not a huge Phantom of the Opera fan, so maybe that's a little bit of an unpopular opinion. Okay, A Madness So Discreet. This is staying on my want to read shelf. I have not read any Star Wars. I want to. I am a big fan of the movies, so I want to read Star Wars, but I haven't read any yet. One of my friends, Graf, he's read a lot of Star Wars and has recommended me a bunch. And there's definitely some authors that I am interested in. I think even that I've read and enjoyed who've written some Star Wars books. So it's definitely on my like one day TBR, but not high priority at this point. Okay, I know I want to read this. Genre, historical fiction. Is it history thriller? All right, let's see. Oh, Serpent King's coming up. Shoshana, it's one of her favorite books. Yes, A Madness So Discreet does have a really good cover. Okay, this is a NetGalley book that I haven't read, but it will stay on my want to read shelf for now. At least I think. Yeah, NetGalley. It's fantasy. Yeah, this one's already done pretty much. I feel like I've kind of heard of this series before, but nobody I know has read it, so maybe not. Anyways, okay, moving on. Where They Found Her. feel like this is a book I heard about from Lala. Did Lala read it? Yes. And she gave it 5 stars. Chelsea gave it 4 stars. Mystery thriller. So this is Where They Found Her by Kimberly McCreight. And it's a YA, so no, it's adult mystery thriller. I think this is a probably. I feel like I've heard enough good things about it, but I'm just not always in the mood for a thriller like this. I think it's just, a missing girl, or they found a girl who was missing. I'm not going to take the time to read the synopsis right now, but I think this is going down to probably. And I don't know anything about it except contemporary and thriller. Okay. Okay, The Child Thief. Oh, this has really high ratings. Who has read this? Fantasy horror, like the sound of that. Tracy, you said that is good. There's a little bit of a delay, so I'm not sure what book you're talking about. You're talking about The Child Thief? And Ravi, I'm sorry that this is dangerous for you and that you're finding more books to add to your TBR. I know the feeling. I'm trying to not get rid of books on my TBR, but just try to figure out which ones I'm most interested in reading. Okay, The Child Thief is the one that, yeah, it's got a lot of good ratings. It's fantasy horror. I think I want to read this. Let's see, fantasy, mostly 5 stars, and scary. Oh, Neverland. Is this a Peter Pan retelling? I love Peter Pan. Did you guys know that I love Peter Pan? Flesh Eaters. Stolen. This sounds fascinating. All right, definitely staying on my want to read shelf. Okay, this is a nonfiction book that I want to read. I don't know when I will ever read it because I hardly ever read nonfiction, but I definitely want to read it. Do I want to say definitely, or do I probably want to read it? Story of my life. I think definitely, yeah. If you don't know, I'm half Korean, so I'm really interested in the topic of this, and also my grandfather actually escaped from North Korea when he was a teenager by himself. So, like, it's a story that's close to my heart in many ways. Mostly 5 stars. It's nonfiction. And apparently at some point I heard it was good on audiobook. Okay, The Serpent King. I'm going to keep this on my want to read shelf, and it's because this is a book I've heard a lot about, but it is my friend Shoshana's one of her favorite books, and she's been telling me to read it for years, so I will read it one day. This is contemporary. I feel like this is a book that I know is going to make me cry, and so it's like hard for me to make myself read it. It's mostly 5. That's actually really high ratings for Goodreads. Oh, so Rachel said that my grandfather must have some incredible stories. He actually died before I was born, so I never got to meet him, but I've heard stories about him from my mom. He died when she was a teenager, so a long time ago. I do speak Korean conversationally with my family. Shannon asks if I'm interested in reading Pachinko. I am interested in reading Pachinko. It is literary fiction, but because of the subject matter, I am interested in reading you. I was reading, sorry. But yes, I am interested in reading Pachinko. But again, it's just like not something that I'm really drawn to, so I don't know when I'll get around to reading it, but I want to. Yeah, Shoshana, don't worry. I'm not taking The Serpent King off my TBR. It's gonna stay. All right, moving on. I need some water. Wow, we've already been doing this for over an hour. I feel like we didn't make that much progress though. It is kind of time consuming, but I want to make this more of a, I want to say monthly thing. That might be a little bit much, but at least every other month, because if I don't do these, I'm not as motivated to like clean up my shelves and stuff, and I just think it's a fun way to do it. So I want to do this more regularly now that I figured out how to do this streaming setup where you can see my face, because when you can't see my face, it's just like not as fun, I feel like. Or at least it doesn't, yeah, you're just like staring at a screen while I talk to you. I don't know. I don't like that. So I'm glad that I figured this out. And now that I have, I want to make this more of a regular thing. Because I've been wanting to make some videos like there's videos that people make related to their Goodreads TBR or their Goodreads shelves. And mine are just such a mess right now that I don't want to make those videos. Like the highest rated books on my TBR. I couldn't do that right now with this Goodreads shelf because there's so many books on here that I'm not as interested in reading as the rest of them. So I want to like narrow it down to the ones that I like definitely want to read so I can do that video. There's also like the top rated books that I hated, or out of the ones that you've read, where you look at the opposite ratings that you gave. And there's probably more. If you guys know of or want to see any Goodreads shelves related videos or TBR related videos, a lot of people do like physical TBR related videos, but I don't own a lot of my TBR, so that's why I would use the Goodreads shelves instead. But if you have videos like that you're interested in seeing, let me know. And so I want to like start cleaning up my shelves a little bit so that I can do videos like that. Now, let me catch up on the chat real quick. Okay, Shannon, I will definitely let you know if I decide to read or when I decide to read Pachinko. Shannon just said that I should do these Goodreads updates once a quarter, or like every season. So that's why I did this one today, was because I wanted to do it after I put up my TBR. But if I'm going to make any real progress, I think I'm going to have to do it more than just quarterly. But I don't know how many people really are interested in watching this. But they don't have to watch it. Like, it can be on my channel. They don't have to watch it, So, okay. So City of Thieves, I didn't realize this until I was looking at my shelf just yesterday, but David Benioff wrote this, who was one of the writers for Game of Thrones. So this is a historical fiction World War II book, and I tend to like historical fiction World War II books. Has anybody read this? City of Thieves by David Benioff. It has mostly 5-star ratings. That's something. I don't think it's going to stay on my want to read shelf because I barely know anything about it. Excuse me. Okay, historical fiction. I think I'm going to put it on my maybe shelf. I just don't know enough about it. Oh, a book Olive gave it 5 stars. Shauna gave it 4 stars. Lala gave it 3. I think realistically this is going on my maybe shelf. I'm definitely interested. And the fact that David Benioff wrote it, I think makes me more interested, not less interested, even though I didn't like the way Game of Thrones ended. I did like most of it. Yeah, I just don't know enough about it. That's going to go on my maybe shelf. I need to hear more people say that they liked it before, more people that I trust say that they like it before I put it on my probably shelf. Shannon is asking me if I've watched or heard of The Reader, which is a World War II historical fiction book. I have not. Okay, this is a sequel to a series that I started and I definitely want to finish. So this is definitely staying on my want to read shelf. Whew, look at those ratings. Mostly 5 stars, and this is science fiction. And I'm actually hoping to read this year because these books are real quick to read, and so I want to read the next 2 before the end of the year so I can finish off a series. Okay. Okay, this one I'm on the fence about. Definitely not staying on my want to read shelf, but between probably and maybe, I'm not sure. Oh, so this book is Only Ever Yours by Louise O'Neill. I heard this is like a really feminist book or something like that. It's really hard to rate because none of it is enjoyable. That doesn't sound great to me. I like to enjoy, and Wallace said the same thing. This book is not designed to be enjoyed, but rather demands to be felt. Oh, but Caitlin gave it 4 stars. I do like dystopians. Oh, so many 4 stars. Okay. I think this is going on my probably shelf. Has anybody read it? Okay, probably. Where are you? Oh, Allison, good to know that the ending of Illuminae series is good. It's a good ending. It's hard to end series, man. Let's see. Dystopian, right? Okay. So that means put it here. It's not only all 5 stars, so okay, probably. I will probably read that. I do want to read this book. This is Blue Lily Lily Blue by Maggie Stiefvater. Shoshana, are we going to read this together? I know we talked about it. I'm pretty sure we read the second book together, right? I don't know when I'm ever going to finish this series. I want to finish it before the end of the year, but at this point, I'm not sure that's going to happen. Fantasy, mostly 5 stars. Fantasy, mostly 5 stars. Okay. And this, I'm going to move this to probably. This is a short story. Is it just one short story? Yeah, I think it's one short story in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone series, which I love, and I love Laini Taylor. I don't know how important it is to me to read short stories that are in series. I don't know. I read them sometimes, but I don't. There's just so many things that I want to read and have on my TBR, as you can see from this whole process, that like I'm not sure that I should really bother reading these short things, but they could be nice little like fun breaks between other things too. So for now, I'm going to put it on probably. Oh, Shoshana, I thought we read book 2 together. Who did I read that with? Okay. I think I'll probably go for like another 10 minutes. I don't know. I'm not ready to stop, but it is getting to be a long stream. Okay. Under the Never Sky, number 2. I read the first book and really enjoyed it. I think I want to read the second book. I haven't given up on this series yet. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Lots of good ratings in my friends. Oh, and it has mostly 5 stars. Okay. So let's see. This is science fiction, mostly 5 stars. Good and good. This is another series that I'm in the middle of. I need to do some more series I'm reading videos because I'm reading so many freaking series. Although I'm working on them. I'm working on them. But yeah, I'm not ready to give up on this yet. Fantasy. Is it mostly 5 stars? No, it's not. Alright. So that one's staying. This one will, because it's a short story in the same series, will go to. I think I'm just going to make it a rule that short stories in the middle of series automatically goes to my probably shelf. And let me put this on fantasy. Done. This one I'm definitely planning to read at this point. It's a series with dragons. And I like Jodi Meadows for the most part. It doesn't have a lot of ratings. But it is mostly 5 stars, technically. When did this come out? Last year? At the end of the year? Okay. So it's still fairly new. Fantasy, mostly 5 stars. Yeah, I definitely want to read this. Cool. Yes, Rachel. Doing a video about the series that I'm reading is definitely on my list. I also want to do a video about the series that I have completed and like what I think of them. Oh, Allison, you said you read the first 4 books in the Red Queen series? Yeah, part of the reason why I haven't continued in the series is because it wasn't completely published. And because I'm reading so many series, I'm trying to focus on series that are completely published, although I'm not great at that either. I get distracted by new series a lot. But yeah, I actually haven't heard too much about the ending and if people liked it or not. Okay, so even though this is Neil Gaiman, I haven't read a lot of short story collections. I don't really know how much I like them. And so for now, this is going on my probably shelf because I'll probably read it, but it's not like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to read that, even though it's Gaiman. Yeah. Shannon said that I might want to wait to read this until after I try Gaiman to decide if I like him, which I think is true. So yeah, going on my probably shelf. You know what? Maybe I should put on my maybe shelf. Decisions. I think I'll probably read it. Maybe I'll move it down to my maybe after I read some more Gaiman and decide that I don't like him. I'm going to put this on fantasy. All right. Cool. Let's see. So no, it's not that. I don't think that Goodreads has better deals than Amazon. Goodreads is actually owned by Amazon, so I think that they're the same prices. Like the prices that you're seeing here are probably the prices that you're going to see on Amazon. Oh, Sean said that short fiction is a great way to try out an author. That's true, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because I haven't done a lot of short fiction, but I don't know if that's how I want to try Gaiman, if that makes sense. Like I think I want to give him a full go instead of a short story collection. I don't know. Anyways, okay, Kristen Hanna, I loved her book The Nightingale, so I've been wanting to read more of her. I don't know much about this one. It's definitely not going to stay on my want to read shelf, but it's probably going to be my probably. Ooh, my friend Mariah gave it 5 stars. Not that many people have read it, at least out of my friends. It is mostly 5 stars. Okay, this is gonna go probably, just because I've read this author before and really enjoyed her book. And then mostly 5 stars. And is it historical fiction? No, it looks like it's contemporary. Contemporary, mostly 5 stars. Kristen Hanna has a pretty big backlist too, so I don't know if I'm gonna like I don't know if I'm gonna like everything that she's written, but I definitely want to give it a try. Yes, you can link your Amazon account to your Goodreads account. I think you do that from the Goodreads side, but I'm not entirely sure. I also want to read her book set in Alaska, Shoshana. That's her most recent book. Yeah, Tracy, The Nightingale's the only one by her that I've read too. But I want to try more. Okay, this one is another one that I am really interested in that has to do with Koreans. Although this one's fiction. But it's written by a Korean woman. Ooh, Julie gave it 5 stars, 4 stars. April gave it 5 stars. Ooh, not that many people who have read it out of my friends, but a good amount have given it 5 stars. I think this is going to stay on my want to read shelf. I don't know, it's kind of leaning probably, but I think I want to read it. Oh yeah, Sean, you've been wanting to read Shelter too? I've just heard so many good things about it. I only vaguely remember what it's about. I think it's about someone who is a landlord. I don't like to always know a lot about books. I just like, it's really funny, just I hear people talk about books and I'm able to remember like if they liked it or not, or sometimes not even that, but I get like an impression of the book and decide that I want to add it to my shelves, but I don't always remember what the book is actually about, which is how I like it. I think this is gonna, oh, this is going on my probably shelf. I really think I'm gonna read it, but for now, I'm gonna put it on my probably shelf. Okay, Night Film. Who has read Night Film? Because I just watched Beautifully Bookish Bethany. She just posted a like rant review for this book and said a lot of things about it that did not sound good to me. But I've heard mostly positive things about this book. See, Emma gave it 5 stars. Ooh, okay. This is kind of what Beautifully Bookish Bethany was saying. So I feel like I'm not going to like this book. Oh. Even Katie gave it 4.5 stars. Oh, so torn. Yeah, it looks like Stephanie did like it. Sean, is Rachel on here? Bethany gave it 1 star. See, my friend Mariah gave it 2 stars. Okay, Rachel gave it 4 stars. I don't know. I'm not going to put it on my lost interest shelf, but I'm going to put it on my maybe shelf. This was one that I would have said before tonight. I would have said this was staying on my want to read shelf because I heard so many good things about it, but I'm really torn about whether or not I want to read this. Okay, so Rachel said that if you expect a horror book, you'll be disappointed. If you like an amateur detective story with multimedia aspects, then go for it. But the ending is underwhelming. I don't like the sound of that. I don't think I'm going to like it. I'm going to put it on my lost interest shelf. Especially with an underwhelming ending. Like, what's the point of reading a book? Well, I don't want to say what's the point, but like, I hate that. I hate when you get to the end and it's like, ugh, what was the point of that? I don't know if it would be that bad. Because I've definitely still overall enjoyed books that had, you know, slightly underwhelming endings. But it's the part about like people saying that it's like racist, transphobic. I don't know, some of the things that I heard in the review that I watched tonight. I just feel like I'm not going to like it. I'm very torn. Maybe. You guys are watching me struggle. Okay, I'm going to put it on Lost Interest. I really don't think I'm going to like it. But I'm willing to try other Marisha Pessl. Like I know she wrote Neverworld Wake, which Deanie said that she liked it. Okay, A Kind Worth Killing by Peter Swanson. I definitely want to read this. Have any of you guys read this? Yes. Oh, Murphy only gave it 3. Oh, Rachel gave it 3.5. That's decent coming from Rachel. Teresa gave it 3. Yeah, I do want to read this. It might just be a mediocre thriller, but so maybe I should put it on my probably shelf. Yeah, okay, probably. Okay. Yeah, I'll probably want to read that. Okay, trying to be ruthless. It's really hard. I definitely want to read this. Let's see. It's mostly 5 stars. I've heard the audiobook is good. Mostly 5 stars. Any Leanne Moriarty fans? I haven't read any of her books yet. But I've heard Big Little Lies is good. And I've heard the TV show is really good. I can't decide if I want to watch the TV show first or not. I am weird and often like to watch adaptations before I read the books. Yes, it is a show. And I'm a Nicole Kidman fan, so I kind of want to watch the show. I'll probably watch the show and then decide if I want to read the book. Usually that goes okay for me, like it doesn't ruin the book for me, but when it's like a mystery thriller, that's when I run into the issue where it might ruin the book. Oh, Shoshana says I should watch the show first. Nicole Kidman slays. All right, I'll watch the show. I do not remember this book at all, The Analyst. It has mostly 5 stars. This is a thriller. Okay. It's a thriller. Who's read this? Not very many people, but 2 people I trust have given it good ratings. Okay, I think this is... I just don't know enough about it, so it's going to go on my maybe shelf. But it's getting marked as mostly 5 stars, and it's a thriller. If anybody in the chat has read this book, let me know. Okay, Shannon, thanks for joining in. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be doing this anyways, but thank you. I want to get through a little bit more. Maybe I'll go for another half hour and see how far I can get, and then I'll have to stop because 2 hours is a long time. Okay, if anybody's read The Analyst by John Katzenbach, let me know because I don't know that much about it. But it's a thriller. Okay, Quintana of Charin is the last book in a series by Melina Marchetta, and I haven't quite decided not to read this, but this is actually a series that I think I might DNF. It's just been so long since I've read the first 2 books, and it's just getting to the point where I don't care enough to finish it, but it does have really good ratings. It's going to stay for now, but if I don't read this book by the end of the year, I think that it's going to be a DNF of the series, so we'll see. Female of the Species. This is staying on my list. I definitely want to read this. I have only read one Mindy McGinnis, and I didn't love it, but I don't think it was the best work for me to read. But this one I've heard such good things about. It's mostly 5 stars and contemporary. It's a thriller. Oh, Deanie has an unpopular opinion and says she didn't like Female of the Species. Sadie's also on my list. Yeah, I gotta give it a try and see what I think. Tracy's asking me if I feel like I need to reread book 2 before moving on in a series if it's been a long time. I mean, yes and no. Often the only times I'm rereading something is because of that. Like I want to continue in the series and I don't feel like I remember enough about it. A lot of times I can try to find like a recap online or something. So it kind of depends. But honestly, these days there's so many things that I want to read that I'm not patient enough to reread something unless I really loved it. Okay, The Road by Cormac McCarthy. I definitely want to read this. I've heard really good things about it, and it has mostly 5 stars, and it's a dystopian. I love dystopians. But yeah, particularly Daniel from Daniel Green has said that he really liked this book, I think. Is he on here? Maybe he didn't rate it on Goodreads. I thought Daniel said this was one of his favorite books. Oh, Julie said it's disappointing and overrated. Oh, this guy said it only gave 1 stars. Maybe I'm getting this book confused with something else. Okay, Ryan says The Road is incredible. Yeah, I think I definitely want to read it and at least decide for myself if I like it or not. Chloe, I'm gonna have to put you down. My legs are falling asleep. I'm sorry. Okay. Okay, When the Moon Was Ours by Anna Marie McLemore. I feel like this is staying on my want to read. This is like a magical realism. Excuse me. So many people have really loved this book. Yeah, I gotta give this one a try. Is it mostly 5 stars? It is, just barely. Oh, apparently the audiobook is good. See, this is why I have shelves like this, because I don't always remember what I hear about a book. Like, I didn't remember that I'd heard this was good on audiobook, but at some point I marked it as audiobook, so someone must have told me that the audiobook was good. Okay, that one's staying. All right, Catherine M. Valente is an author that I've been wanting to try. I've heard a lot of good things about her books, and I have heard good things about this one. It's a series, though. How many books are in the series, and is it a completed series? Oh, Adriana gave it 5 stars. That's a pretty good sign. Oh my gosh. I think this is why I have it on my list, because Leanna gave it 5 stars. And Teresa gave it 5 stars. That girl does not give out 5 stars easily. Okay, well, let's check out the series part of it. There's no other books that are announced, so that's promising. Oh, man. Okay, Sean said that he doesn't believe she's returned to that series yet, so she probably will be writing more in it. I know, Shoshana, I haven't read anything by Valente yet either. I think there's other books by her that I'm more interested in reading. Where are the books that she wrote? Oh, yeah, I really want to read her Fairyland series, because I've heard it's really good. But I feel like there's another book too. I think this is going on my probably shelf, just because like, I don't feel in a big rush to read it, but I feel like I would like to read it one day. So probably it is mostly 5 stars. What's the genre? Fantasy? Okay. Historical fiction. I'll put it on fantasy. I mean, it's Russian folklore. Okay, let's move on. Oh, this one. This is not staying on my want to read shelf, but I don't know how I feel about it. Young adult fantasy. Oh, it's got decent ratings. Ooh, Royal only gave it 2.5 stars. I don't feel very strongly about this. This is going on my maybe shelf. Maybe. This is fantasy. Girl of Fire and Thorns meets the Queen of the Tierling. I like the Queen of the Tierling, and I like Ray Carson, but I haven't read The Girl of Fire and Thorns. Yeah, let's go on maybe. On my maybe shelf. This is a NetGalley book that I need to read. Oh, Allison said she's read Long May She Reign and thought it was really intriguing. That is promising. This one, it's pretty much already got all the shelves it needs. Allegedly. Oh, I've heard so many good things about this. I think I do want to read this. What mystery? Okay. Contemporary mystery. It's heavy all the way through. That's good to know. Yeah, the plot of this just sounds so interesting. I think I definitely want to read it. Cool. All right, I feel like we've made decent progress. So we'll do a few more. Man, some of these, I can't believe I added them so long ago. Like Ella for Oliphant is completely fine. I feel like 2017. I feel like this book is newer than that, but I guess not. Okay. The Orphan's Tale. I don't remember this book at all. This is not staying on my want to read shelf. Okay, it's a World War II. Oh, thank you, Moody Bookworm. I don't think I knew that allegedly was a good audiobook. I will have to add that. Audiobook. Okay. Shoshana says she's heard really good things about the Orphan Train. And it comes up a lot in relation to The Nightingale. Well, I loved The Nightingale. 5 stars. Eva gave it 4 stars. Oh, Katie only gave it 3 stars. Not that many of my friends have read it. I think I have to put it on my maybe shelf. Yeah. I need to hear more people talk about it, I think. I'm so torn. Yeah, maybe. I just don't feel strongly that I'm going to read it. There's so many books that I feel like I'm probably going to read. I feel like this is a maybe. Is it shelved on a genre shelf? Nope. Historical fiction. Okay. The Zookeeper's Wife. I feel like this is a probably. Oh, it's nonfiction. I didn't know that. I want to see the movie. Okay, this is a probably, and it's nonfiction. And it's not mostly 5 stars. Okay. Yeah, I think probably is the right place for it. Oh, the Roanoke Girls. I'm pretty sure I want to read this. Has anybody else read this? I've heard good things. It's old though. Ooh, a couple of 2 stars, a DNF, a 3 stars, a 3 stars. Riley gave it 5 stars. I think this is going to be a probably. What number did it say that was? 26. Okay, probably. And is it contemporary? But thriller. Which would, yeah, I don't know if I want to read this. I think this is going on my maybe shelf. I'm open to reading it, but I just don't feel very compelled to read it. It is middle grade though. I like middle grade, but I don't read enough of it. There's just other middle grade that I'm more interested in reading, I think. Okay, Far From the Tree. I've heard so many good things about this. Oh, look, it's mostly 5 stars. Let's see. Mostly 5 stars. I know it's like about adoption and stuff. 5, 4, 4, 5, 5, 5, 3, 4, 4. It's a lot of good ratings. It's not really my genre, but I've heard a lot about it. I think it's going on my probably shelf. All right, Shoshana, good night. I think this might be my last set of 5 books, and then I will call it. And we'll see how much shorter my want to read shelf has gotten. Yes, Eleanor Oliphant is probably staying on my want to read shelf. So many people have talked about this book. It's mostly 5 stars. I don't think I have that marked, do I? Nope. Yes, advocate for your contemporaries, girl. I gotta read them sometime, right? In the summer. Oh, there's a giveaway going on. Murphy gave it 3 stars, 4 stars. Yeah, this is one I want to make my own opinion about because I've heard a lot of good things about it. Contemporary, and apparently it's good on audio. Okay, so that one's staying. I do think I want to read Autonomous as well. Maybe it's a probably, though. I've heard good things about it. Kalinati gave it 4 stars. Critting gave it 3. Oh, Caitlin DNF'd it. I think this is a probably. Yeah. Okay. Let's move this to probably. I feel like my probably shelf is blowing up right now, but oh well. Not 5 stars, so just sci-fi. Done. The Crown's Fate. I'm pretty sure I'm not gonna read this. Yeah, I don't think I want to read this. This is a sequel to a book, and I didn't really like the first book. Whoa. These two people who I trust both gave it 5 stars. I also trust Jean, and she only gave it 3. I just didn't love the first book. I usually decide on DNFing series at the end of the year, so I'm going to leave it on my want to read shelf for now. I think I'm going to wait until the end of the year to decide, but I'm pretty sure that this is moving over to the lost interest shelf by the end of the year. Okay. And same for this. I'm really mixed about continuing this series. One of my friends, Leanna, really liked this series. She gave it 5 stars. So, but most of the things that I've heard about it were like not that great. Oh, Allison said that she liked The Crown's Game and the sequel wasn't as good, but it was a satisfying conclusion. Okay, let's see. I didn't really like Crown's Game, so I don't know. I'm going to put the decision off. And same for this. I'm going to put the decision off. I just can't decide if I want to continue this series or not. It just keeps getting pushed back on the list of series that I'm reading. Like, it's just not as high priority. But let me make sure it's shelved on the genres shelf. Yes, it is. All right. The Good Daughter, I definitely want to read. Okay, Moody Bookworm says Empress definitely suffers from being a middle book. That's good to know. I actually forgot that, like, that was originally supposed to be duology. I forgot that there's going to be a third book. So I'll wait for the third book to come out and decide. Or maybe it's out by now. Okay, is this mostly 5 stars? No. But I definitely want to read The Good Daughter, and I actually own this. It should be on my own TBR shelf. It's not. I'm pretty sure I own this. Well, crap. I'm not going to put it on my own TBR shelf right now because I'm second guessing myself. Maybe I don't own this. Okay. But yeah, I definitely want to read this. Oh, I want to look at the rest. I want to keep going, but we've been doing this for a long time. Okay, I'm going to call it. Looks like I got close to through 120 bucks. So let's see how much this shrinks. This is 370 right now, and when I refresh this, the want to read number is going to go down because I moved a bunch to other shelves. Ooh, 338. So that was like what? 32 books that I took off of my want to read shelf. that's not too bad for one night's work. And hopefully the more often, like as I start doing this more often, I can keep shrinking the shelf and get it down to 100 at some point. Like one of the reasons why I was making sure to add a genre shelf to, I was gonna say every book, but it's not true. Obviously, I didn't do it for this one, but for most books, is so that next time I do this, I can easily like look at these shelves, and if it's got a bunch of different shelves on it, I'll know that I had looked at it before. So it looks like next time I can pick up with Neverwhere and go down from there. Oh, see, Goodreads did skip a bunch of older books. I thought it did. There's all these like 2015 and 16 books that it didn't show me. It showed me this one. So yeah, Goodreads was kind of messing up there. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me. I appreciated all of your input and help in getting my want to read shelf down. And I'll be doing this again. I don't know if I'll do it in a month or if it'll be in 2 months, but I'll definitely be doing it again. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, all that kind of stuff. Let me know if you're watching this on replay. Leave me some comments. And yeah, thanks for joining me. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys have a good weekend. Bye.